smoking, melon and green.
Football.
My name's Tarul, I'm a real bad dude, making sounds and noises that are certainly rude. But when we're on the field, my noises are an art like a and a or a plain old bar.
It's the smoking, melon and green.
Welcome to the Married with Picks podcast, season 2, episode 8, week 6. Welcome, Steve.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
What shirt you got on there? What is that?
Oh, it's
When in doubt, parlay it out.
yeah. I don't think it makes sense. I think it should be like when in doubt, tease it. But I guess that didn't rhyme. So
I don't know. I don't really make sense of it. Is that like the Delaware Park special shirt? Did you get that at Delaware Park?
no, I got it off of the internet.
Oh, great. All right.
Don't be jealous just because you're recycling your Washington football team shirt.
Hail to the Washington football team. Here we go.
All right. So quick recap of week 5. So Steve, your best bet, Washington, was a loser.
Oh, great. I'm wearing this shirt.
But well, and you're lucky because last week when I asked you your best bets, you said Washington and then you just sat there. And I was like, is that it? So then you rattled off 5 more teams: Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Indy, Arizona, and Tennessee. And all of those teams won. So you were 5-1 on the week. I had the Jets, which was not a good pick. Titans, Buffalo, which won, and then the Bengals was a push on many missed field goals.
I was counting the 4 underdogs, and 3 of the 4 won. But Washington got me.
And then we had a bet on the Jets, Falcons, which I'm a little bitter about.
Cover my half point.
Now you have pulled into.
We're a tie.
Yes, 3-3.
All right.
All right, so I got to do better this week.
I will say I was pretty strong on Buffalo. At one point, because you called me out, I was like 2 touchdowns, and I backed off the 2 touchdown prediction. But they roll, baby. They look good.
All right. So moving on to week 6. This is our first week of bye week. So we are without Atlanta, New York Jets, Saints, and San Francisco. All right. So first game up is Miami at Jacksonville, but actually at London. Open at -2.5. It's at -3 in favor of Miami. Apparently we have Tua back this week. So this will be his first game back after he was gone for at least 3 weeks. So I don't know how he's going to fare first time back from injury playing in London, but I thought maybe it was enough for the rest of the team to kind of step up a little bit because their defense did not play very well last week against Tom Brady. But so my first take on this game was I'm not going to touch it. But the more I thought about it, I kind of thought Brian Flores comes from the Belichick tree. He's going to go up against a rookie quarterback, and they actually faced a rookie quarterback in week 1 of this season, which was Mac Jones when they played New England, and they did win that game. So I kind of talked myself into Miami. It's not going to be a pick for me, but that's the way I lean. Do you have any thoughts on this game?
I mean, I think that this is a perfect excuse for Jacksonville to just kind of get away from all the troubles that have been going on. They haven't been playing bad football. They really haven't been playing that bad of football. There's been some bad coaching decisions, and at times they look bad, but they've been in some of these games. And I'm kind of leaning towards Jacksonville to fly across the ocean, get it out of the States.
A long plane ride with Urban Meyer?
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, they're going to have to get it together and win a game here, and this looks like a winnable game with Miami. So I would lean towards Jacksonville. It's not really a play for me. I mean, these are 2 bad teams, and like you said, who knows what Tua is going to look like if he's playing.
All right. So next game up is the Houston Texans at Indianapolis. This is -10 in favor of Indianapolis. So it's a big line for a team that's 1-4 on the season to start with. And I don't know what happened last week with Houston. I still haven't really figured out what happened in that game with the Patriots. Because they were up in the game. The Patriots did come back and pull out the victory. But it wasn't exactly what I expected.
Hunter Henry got involved. That's what happened, I think.
Well, but I'm more talking about the Texans side. Like, how did the Texans score 22 points?
Oh, yeah.
So...
Rookie quarterback. I think there were some turnovers with Mac Jones.
But I'm going to assume that was kind of an outlier game. I don't think that Davis Mills is that great of a quarterback. And I did confirm that his first name is Davis, not David.
Yeah. Do you feel like Indy's starting to get it together? I mean, they lost a heartbreaker, right, to Baltimore. They had that game. They were up, I think, 15 points, 16 points in the fourth quarter and blew the game. But to me, it looks like it almost like they jumped the shark. Like Carson, he hasn't been healthy. He missed all training camp. He banged his ankle up. And he's been under fire with the defensive pass rush that they've been facing. The Colts haven't done him any favors in blocking. I don't know. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you're going on and on about Houston. I'm not worried about Houston that much. I mean, yeah, they put a couple points on, but then Belichick shut them down. But I'm trying to figure out Indy because I was kind of thinking Carson would do well with, we had the whole big Carson Wentz whisper conversation with Frank Reich. And even though they lost the game against Baltimore, my point is they went into Baltimore, they played tough, and Carson started hitting some deeper throws, and he looked good doing it.
But see, I don't know. I saw the same Carson Wentz. Like, he held on to the ball too long.
There was some opportunities that we've come to know about him that he continued to show, but it was almost like he's getting more comfortable. There is plays like when I remember Carson was going good, there's play design that's just perfect. And when the play design works, he can put it on there. When guys are covered, he starts to try to be Superman. That's when he gets in trouble.
And that's what I saw. But I guess my take on this game is I think that Frank Reich is a smart enough coach, and I think he'll have a good enough game plan to go into this. I think that if you're looking at it from a season perspective, like, this is a game that they have to have. They're 1-4 on the season, and they've got to get some wins. They're playing the Houston Texans. You got to win this game.
I think this is a great money line game. Like, Indy's going to win this game, but the question is, you have to kind of have a little hesitancy when you see that Indianapolis is going to give up 10 points going against anybody the way they played this year. I mean, they haven't looked like a 10-point favorite, even against Houston. So that concerns me. It's a lot of points, but I feel like this is the culmination of Carson starting to get healthy, starting to get the playbook a little more comfortable with and familiar with it, getting back to basics, and he was looking stronger. I think this is a blowout. I really do. I like Indy. All right,
so you're taking Indy at 10?
I am taking Indy at 10.
All right, I'm with you. I'm going to take Indy up to 10. I would not take it past 10. All right, next game up is Green Bay at Chicago. It opened at -4.5 in favor of Green Bay. It's at -6. So it's a division game. In the past 5 years, the Bears have only won one game against the Packers. The two meetings last year, Green Bay won by more than 15 points in each of those games. So, I mean, the Bears, they won the last two games, but if you look at who they played the Lions. They're not that good. And then they played the Raiders last week with all the drama going on with John Gruden. So I don't know how much you can really give them credit for those wins. So I think it's Aaron Rodgers, and that's my pick.
Yeah, I like Green Bay here. The line started at 4.5. It's going up to 6. I could see it getting up to 7.
And I guess David Montgomery was out last week too, right? He's out this week too.
Yeah, but is there other running back that was playing for him? Williams, is he out?
No, I don't think so.
I thought I heard somebody say.
Well, there's two
in the week.
There's Damian Williams, and then there's Darrell Williams. Darrell is still with Kansas City.
Damian Williams is on the COVID list.
All right.
So I don't know if he's playing.
Well, he's probably not then.
Well, I mean, they could come off before. This is as of 10:30 Friday night.
Well, you have to have 2 negative tests.
No, this is as of last night.
4 hours apart. So probably doesn't look good there. All right. Well, I mean, that doesn't affect my decision.
He tested positive. Yeah. So 2 negative tests in 24 hours apart because he could be asymptomatic and vaccinated, so he wouldn't be really a risk. So, I mean, that's an easy one if he's out. I think Chicago's not going to be able to do much offensively.
So can you scroll down? Who's the next man up there?
Well, they're already out without David Montgomery.
Okay. I heard that name earlier. Yeah, Khalil Herbert. Okay.
Yeah. He's the rookie.
All right.
He's a 6th-round draft pick, but you never know with running backs. They could, go off at any time.
All right. So next game up is Kansas City at Washington. Opened -5.5 in favor of the Chiefs. It's at -6.5 in favor of the Chiefs. So Chiefs are 2-3 on the season. They're actually at the bottom of the AFC West at this point. They got the Chargers up there at 4-1. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a must win for them. But I think Kansas City, their defense is not very good. So I think Washington can keep pace with them. The one concern that I have is Terry McLaurin popped up on the injury report today. He's questionable for the game. The coach said he felt sore, so they held him out kind of more as like a precautionary measure. So if that's true, I guess it's all good. But if Terry McLaurin doesn't play, I definitely don't like Washington as much. The Chiefs have this tendency not to cover these spreads, so I'm not sure I'm comfortable taking them at 6.5, but I would consider them in a teaser leg or a money line bet.
I would take Washington if McLaurin's playing. It's all predicated with McLaurin because he's the one that can keep their offense going with Kansas City. And I do trust Washington's defense. I think they're going to continue to get better this season. I do like Ron Rivera's style, and I think he's a proven winner. So he's going to get those guys playing better defense. They have good talent on the line, and I don't think we've seen the best of them yet. So
right now, Washington's defense is doing well against the run, but they're not doing well in the secondary. So, I mean, that's kind of the opposite of the defense that you want when you're facing Kansas City. Because number one, I think they're, what's his name? Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out. So, and they don't run the ball a lot anyway.
Yeah, that's going to be problems. I mean, if it depends, if Washington can make them one-dimensional with their front four, stopping the run by themselves, and they can sit back with extra defensive backs and make it harder for both Kelsey and Hill to go off. I like Washington here. I think this is a good spot for Washington. Playing at home. Heineke looks good when he's playing at home. They battled Kansas City, or they battled San Diego, Kansas City's main rival. Probably should have beat them earlier in the season. But you got a couple games under Heineke's belt. I think he's ready to go. Possible win here by Washington, but I'll take 6.5. And I think it opened at 5.5. I see 6.5 now, and some places are flashing 7. So I got to be pretty sure you're probably going to get a touchdown by kickoff. I would take the 7 points.
Okay.
Hail to the Redskins, baby. It pains me to say it, but I think the Eagles season's over. So it doesn't matter.
Oh! Last night you said that they could have won that game.
They could have won the game, but coulda, woulda, shoulda.
They got more. I thought, I was exaggerating when I said they got more yards off of pass interference penalties than they did from your quarterback, but that was not an exaggeration.
Like 2 long bombs that they got flagged for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they had like 90 yards in pass interference penalties, and your quarterback threw for like 100.
Well, I think it's evident that, we just talked about the Eagles for a quick second, that they're running a vanilla offense. I can't really tell if this is just because the quarterback can't handle anything more complicated. I find that hard to believe. He's clearly not audibling or given the ability to audible. And it looks like he pretty much has one read on every play. So I don't know if this is the coach's fault. I'm blaming the coach. But, if he
some
could
of these
easily say
guys,
it's
like,
because
I
of
guess,
Jalen Hurts, and I wouldn't
if you're a
doubt
coach
it.
in the NFL, or if you're like an assistant coach or whatever, and you get the opportunity to be a head coach, like these guys jump at it. But, sometimes maybe you're just better off where you're at. And I think that's the case with Sirianni.
Well, I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered before we start pointing the finger directly at anybody, but changes are going to have to happen. And I could start from the very top if that was ever possible, that Lori would get rid of Howie before he's going to ruin these 3 first-round draft picks we're going to get next year. But I digress. Let's move on to the games.
Okay. All right. So
We got Minnesota at Carolina?
Yes.
All right. So Minnesota's coming into Carolina. This game opened up as a Carolina 1-point favorite. It is now flipped to 2.5 Minnesota, giving points away to Carolina. What's your feelings on this game, Jacqueline?
I'm torn on this game. And I think my hatred for Kirk Cousins kind of like affects my ability to make the accurate decisions here. I would mention that Dalvin Cook is going to play this week. CMC is still out. I think Kirk Cousins has played well this season. They haven't exactly been lighting teams up. Like the last 2 weeks, it's been pretty like low scoring games.
Oh, their defense has been playing a lot better. I'll tell you, their defense, they gave up 20.
The Vikings?
Yeah, well, they gave up 27 and 34 points in the first 2 weeks, right? And after the last 3 weeks, the totals have been 17, 14, and 17.
Well,
so
I
they
think
have been playing a little bit lesser of competition.
But the one game that was because the head coach of the Browns is the former offensive coordinator was the offensive coordinator for the Vikings. So I think that was like a defensive battle because of that relationship. Last week they played Detroit, right? Like they only put up, what was the final score? 19?
Yeah, 19-17.
So, Detroit has a bad defense.
Well, they're playing in Motown, and that kind of goes back to the scary part about this game is Minnesota playing on the road. They tend to always be better at home.
Is that outdoors, Carolina?
No. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So
you can see this being maybe a low-scoring affair again.
Well, Carolina has a good defense, so I think they get the advantage there.
Right.
Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback, so they have the advantage there.
Minnesota's got Cook, like you mentioned, and McCaffrey's still not back with that leg injury. I would have so
maybe preferred it the other way around.
Minnesota has definitely the advantage there.
I think it comes down to Darnold, and I don't trust him. So my initial take on the game was Carolina. I kind of am second guessing myself, so it's not going to be a play for me.
I like Minnesota here. I think it's enough that Dalvin Cook is coming back. It does scare me that they're on the road and they're favorites. So the fact that it's not even really, from what I was seeing, it seemed like it was pretty even, but the line for some reason is going up. So there must be action on Minnesota. You might get it at 3. It's 2.5 now, 3 by kickoff. But this is a bad spot to say Minnesota because they're on the road. However, coming off a fresh look at Carolina last week, and I think it's the first time that we saw, really the Eagles just exposed Darnold, right? It's the first time that we saw the Sam Darnold that looked like he played for the Jets. They started getting pressure on him. He started throwing the ball up and making mistakes, and the Eagles had a bunch of interceptions. And it worries me that Minnesota is going to see the film. They're going to take the same approach, get some pressure on him, he'll make mistakes. And that's really, at the end of the day, why I'm confident in taking Minnesota, even though I'm scared for the reasons that they're favored on the road, especially they don't play well in those scenarios. But I almost feel like, and I was big on Carolina, this is going to be a very important game because I was big on Carolina coming in, big on Sam Darnold. But I watched that whole Eagles game, and he looked really bad. Like he just kind of went backwards. So that could have just been a blip on the radar and maybe just a bad game. That's totally possible. But it looks so bad that I'm willing to go Minnesota here on the road. And I think that the Vikings should be able to do the same and have the same success that the Eagles had. So again, I think Darnold, they could have figured him out, and he looks back.
Yeah, but do you think
the Jets quarterback? We'll see if that it continues. I
don't think the Vikings have a good enough defense to replicate what the Eagles did.
Well, we'll see.
All right. So
I'm taking Minnesota.
I'm not making a pick on this.
Okay. What do we got next?
LA Chargers at Baltimore. It's at -2.5 in favor of Baltimore. So, I'm going to take the Chargers as a dog all day in this case.
Okay.
I think you can run on Baltimore. We saw that last week. And they don't have much in the secondary after Marcus Peters went down. They have one good cornerback. And just to mention, I know this was a different, like they have a new coach now and everything, but it was the Chargers in the playoffs back in, I think it was 2019. That, remember that game? Like Baltimore was favored and they just completely shut Lamar down. Yeah. Now that was the Anthony Lynn Chargers. But I have to think that to an extent, they're going to take that kind of same game plan. I'm sure they have a lot of the same personnel. So, I mean, I like the Chargers for sure.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take the other side, and this is why. Watching that game against Indy, that was Indy's game last week, and there's certain things that happen in football where you just say, you know, this is like this team's gelling, or it's meant to be, or you just, there's teams that have that like moxie, and Lamar Jackson is definitely playing with that moxie right now. I mean, this guy totally labeled as that stereotypical running quarterback coming out of college. And I think he's proven that he can throw the ball with some velocity down the field and with some accuracy too. He's hitting guys deep. Hollywood is all over the end zone. Mark Andrews is having a huge season so far, and Lamar just looks really good. I think that this is an easy game to look at and just say, hey, Chargers, boom. Like the Chargers, the way they're playing, and I think a lot of action is already going on. I know is already going on the Chargers from what we're seeing in Vegas, and I think this is an easy trap game to go Chargers. I think Baltimore gets them here, and probably handily.
All right. Well, this sounds like a good game for a bet then.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Don't get called on this game. There's a lot of people are going to want to take the Chargers. I'm telling you, regardless of what she's saying, my opinions, just stay away if you can't take Baltimore, but don't lose money on the Chargers like Jacqueline just did.
All right. We'll see next week what you're saying.
All right.
You're going to be singing a different tune.
Oh, that's whistling.
All right. So next game up is Cincinnati at Detroit. And this is another one I kind of have been back and forth on, so I don't have a play. But I think that the Lions could have a shot. I really want them to get the win. I really like the
bold prediction.
What's your bold prediction?
Detroit wins this game. They're going to win their first game. They're 0-5. This is going to be their first win.
I mean, I would love to see them win the game. I don't know that this is the spot that they're going to do that, unfortunately.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not telling you to bet the money line. That's my bold prediction is they're going to win, but being smart, take 3.5, get that hook all day, playing at home. Detroit's got to win one of these games. This is a winnable game with Cincinnati. I know Cincinnati's playing a lot better. They're not your mama's Cincinnati Bengals. They're getting better, and they're going to be getting better. But this is the spot for Detroit. I think that they can sneak a win out here.
Yeah, and the only thing I will mention about Cincinnati is Joe Burrow had that throat contusion at the end of the game last week.
Would he get karate chopped?
I don't know. Contusion. He played the rest of the game, but they took him to the hospital right afterwards.
Oh, he's all right. Ooh.
Well, so he's okay, but the issue is his voice. Like he might not have like his full voice. So it's on the road. If the stadium's noisy, it might have an effect on his ability to,
audible.
So
snap count. I mean, that's on a silent count. I'm sure he'll be able to muster some kind of vocals out.
So I don't know. That's the one thing that would worry me if you're on the Cincinnati side.
Take the points, Detroit.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like their coach. I mean, he cried last week.
Oh. There's no crying in football.
Well, I mean, he's the guy.
You can't say I like this guy because he cried.
No, because when he got hired as the head coach, he was up on the podium with some, I don't know what he said about breaking kneecaps or something, but he came off as like this real like meathead dude that like. And then last week he's crying. I mean, he's really got the guys buying it. And I mean, this is Jared Goff and a bunch of no-name receivers.
I like him because of that, but not because he's crying.
And even though they're 0-5, I think they're playing a lot better than anybody would have expected them to.
Jeez Louise.
So anyway, all right, let's move on. Next game is the LA Rams at the New York Giants. It opened at -6.5 in favor of LA. It's at -8.5 in favor of LA. I don't really understand why the line moved in that direction because I would think the question mark was whether Daniel Jones was going to play. And apparently he is going to play, but I don't know why that would make the line go up in favor of LA. Are you confused?
No, I just want to say how much I love Matthew Stafford because he opened up his heart to his teammates and he was really honest and vulnerable.
Shut up.
They take the Rams. The Giants suck. Get them out of here. This is a double-digit win for the Rams. They're going to roll. That's all I got to say about that one. Oh, I want to give you a little different wager here too, depending on how you can, what you have access to. But this is going to be my first time giving a first half special. I would take St. Louis in the first half.
It's not St. Louis.
I'm sorry, but
Hasn't
you know
been
what I'm talking
St.
about.
Louis in a long time.
The Los Angeles Rams. First half, they're going to go up like 21-0 early. This thing's going to be a roll.
You think? I think you might be a little short-sighted. I mean, I'm not going to take the Giants or anything, but...
Take the Rams in the first half. Take the Rams for the game.
All right. Steve has spoken.
The score will be 21-0 at one point, most likely in the first quarter.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think
Rams.
LA wins.
Bold prediction. I'll give you another one. Fantasy football. Start Deshaun Jackson. He's going to have a touchdown and a long one. He loves playing in that stadium.
All right, I got to write that one down.
Meadowlands. He loves that stadium. He scores every time he plays in that stadium. Maybe once.
Well,
he didn't.
Well, he had that. Was that in New York when he like bobbled it and then ran it back?
Yeah, the punt return in New York when Michael Vick was the quarterback of the Eagles. It's also referred to as the Miracle in the Meadowlands Part 3. But only Eagles fans would know that. So we will move on to this NFL-centric show. And the next game, you want to say anything else about the Rams and the Giants?
No.
Blowout. Arizona in Cleveland, and we have breaking news.
You're messing up the audio.
You want to give the breaking news on the coach?
All right. The breaking news is that Cliff Kingsbury has COVID or is on the COVID list and will not be at the game.
So they'll be without their head coach.
So now apparently Kyler Murray has a shoulder issue. So that's worrisome. Nick Chubb is out for the Cleveland Browns. That will put Kareem Hunt into the primary back role. And so I don't know. I guess Cliff Kingsbury does call the plays for Arizona. So that has me concerned. But my pick was going to be Arizona before we saw that when we sat down.
Let's remind everybody, too, that even though Zach Ertz was traded from the Eagles to Arizona last night, officially today, Friday, he will not be eligible to play because he played in the Thursday night game for the Eagles.
Okay. That would be a quick turnaround.
In case you're thinking, but that's going to be huge for Arizona going forward. They're going to have somebody in the middle of the field that can play tight end after a couple injuries have left them vulnerable there. So if they have any kind of Super Bowl hopes, I think, that was an awesome trade for them. They were smart to jump in when they did. I like Cleveland here. I think that this is a bad sign that Kingsbury is going to be out, but I like Cleveland before, honestly, I even knew that news. We figured that out just as we were getting ready to sign on and do the podcast. So that doesn't really, it just makes me like Cleveland even more. They're home, giving up 3 points. I think that Arizona is 5-0. They're due for a loss.
What's Cleveland's record on the season, though?
3-2.
3-2.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 3-2, but I will verify.
So you have the 5-0 Cardinals going to Cleveland. They were 3-2, and Cleveland's favored by 3 points.
Yeah. You got to lose sometime. This is a loss.
Well, I think that's what a lot of people are saying. And I think every week going into these games, the Cardinals come out kind of surprising people because nobody was talking about the Cardinals, especially in that division that they play in. And they're on top now. I mean, before the season started, they had the lowest odds or the highest odds to win the division. So I don't know. The fact that the coach isn't going to be there worries me. But otherwise, I think that people keep underestimating them and they keep delivering. So they were going to be my pick, and I might stick with them.
Yeah, Cleveland's 3-2. They're tied with Cincinnati at 3-2, second place of the AFC North, 1 game behind the Baltimore Ravens, 1 game ahead of Pittsburgh Steelers. Usually I have the standings up because I know I want to reference that. So I apologize about that, but I like Cleveland.
I don't think you gave me a reason that you like Cleveland.
I like Cleveland because I think that they've been scuffling their offensively the last couple of weeks. In Arizona, even though they've played good defense, a lot of that, especially against Arizona, they've kind of, or against the Rams, they were bottling down the run, but then they were able to get some key turnovers. Baker Mayfield's not the best, but I think that this combination running game with the backs that they have with Hunt and Chubb,
but they're not going to have it.
Well, they're going to be able to have enough success that they're going to be able to set up the play action. And I think that this is going to be one of those letdown games after Arizona had the big win last week. So
what was the big win last week against San Francisco?
Yeah, I mean,
why was that a big win? They had the big win the week before against the Rams.
The 5-0 game,
and then they still won at San Francisco.
San Francisco is brutal, but it was the Rams I was really referencing. But that was 2 weeks ago. If you want to argue, let's just bet here. I like Cleveland.
Well, if it wasn't for the coach, I'm not going to do it because
Let's go.
If it wasn't for the coach,
like Arizona a lot.
I still like Arizona, but I have to think about it a little more about what Cliff Kingsbury not being there is going to do. And we don't know. Like, if he's got it, you don't know if anybody else has it. Like, by Sunday, there could be 12 people not there. So.
Yeah, get some cojones.
You're not going to con me into a bet that I don't want to take.
Well, you're grilling me on my reasons.
Well,
I like
you didn't
Cleveland.
Give a reason. You like them so much. Give a reason for it.
This is a good ebb and flow.
You could say it's my gut if you don't have like any real reason. But you got to say something.
I don't have statistics to tell you that on Sunday at 1:00 that when they're playing against somebody in the AFC West, that Cleveland is 4-0 in the last 8 October.
Well, I mean, I'm just
matchups.
saying, like, for me,
what do you
I
want?
don't like.
I'm telling you that Cleveland's going to win this game because Arizona's 5-0. They've looked good, but they're not that good. Their coach is out. Cleveland's coming back at home, and they're going to get things moving on offense. I think this is going to be not even a back and forth game. I think this is going to be a bad Kyler Murray game. I think he's looked really great this season, but he's due for a clunker. I really like them, and then I think going forward, Arizona is a team to watch, but not this week. I think it's a bad spot heading to Cleveland. Okay. The dog pounds, getting ready to eat them alive.
All right. So,
you sure you don't want to bet on it?
No, I don't want to. All right. Next game is Las Vegas Raiders at Denver. It opened at -2.5 in favor of Denver. It's at -4. I don't have a lot to say about this game. Both these teams started 3-0 and they've lost the last 2 games. And obviously they had all the drama with John Gruden and everything. So I think that that's just a distraction.
So Rich Bisaccia steps in, the special teams man, who's a 20-year coach in the NFL, now finally gets his first opportunity as the interim coach to be the head coach in the NFL. Do you think that they're going to rally behind this guy? Really, I guess is the question. Or is the team going to be lost without Gruden? Like, it didn't seem like...
Well, I don't know that we've really heard anything from the players on the team as to...
The question is, did the players like Gruden?
Well, I know.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Well, it's tough to get a read because we're hearing a lot of examples of ex-players not liking him, but we've heard people really liking him a lot.
I think the one guy that said he was like, he always struck me as a used car salesman. Like, I could totally see that, like Gruden, like his personality. That's his personality.
It's tough sometimes because Keyshawn Johnson, you don't know what's what. Like, Gruden could have said something bad to him to try to challenge him, and it just rubbed Keyshawn the wrong way because Keyshawn's not a guy you really mess with. So,
but I'm sure there's
his skin. You don't know. Like, I'm sure there's some truth to it.
I'm sure there's players on the team that might have liked Gruden that may be offended by what he said in the emails.
You don't hear a lot of players saying they hate him. Like, you hear Keyshawn coming out, but.
So I don't know. I mean, usually when we have a head coach get fired, it's usually like Adam Gase, and then the team rallies because, yay, we got rid of him. Like, I don't know. This is like a different situation. So I don't know. But to me, it was a distraction during the week. It's less preparation for the game. Now you have the special teams coordinator moving into the head coach role, who's taking over special teams. You got all these logistics. You kind of got off to a late start. So, I mean, that's going to affect things. Now you got to travel to Denver. So
4 points. This screams, regardless of what side you like, it almost screams like a 3-point game to me, right? It's opened up at 2.5. It's bet up to 4. This is a 3-point game.
Well,
take the points.
All right. I mean, it's not a pick for me, but I lean Denver.
It's not a pick for me, but I like.
Are you sure you don't want to make it a bet?
Oh no, I don't know because I don't know what impact the coach is going to have on the players. I have to figure that out.
Well, who called the plays in LA? It wasn't Gruden, was it?
I don't even know.
I don't think so.
I don't think. Well, I don't know. Just gonna stick with I don't know.
Okay, I don't know either. All right. So next game up is Dallas at New England. It opened at -1 in favor of Dallas. It's at -3.5 in favor of Dallas. So we have Belichick as a home dog in this one. So, I mean, my first take on this was, I mean, Dallas offenses look pretty good. I can't figure out last week with New England, like how they went to Houston and they couldn't have a better win. I mean, it came down to like a field goal at the very end for them to pull out that victory. So that confuses me. So my initial take would be Dallas, but I've heard a lot of people talking about the Patriots and Belichick being a home dog and all that kind of thing. So it has me concerned.
People were talking?
I'm not going to pick it.
Well, I heard people talking that Bill Belichick's going to have something for Dak. And I'm not going to pick the game.
I thought he would have something for Davis Mills last week, and he didn't. I mean, that's what concerns me.
He did in the second half, didn't he? Shut him down.
They won on a field goal at the very end of the game.
I know, but you said Houston jumped out to a big lead, right? So at some point they
22 points is a enormous lead for the Houston Texans with Davis Mills at quarterback. It's supposed to be Bill Belichick versus the rookie quarterback.
When was it 22-0?
Like the Jets game.
When was
they
it
shut him out.
22-0?
I didn't say it was 22-0, but they were up 22.
They're up 22.
They had 22 points. Maybe I'm not saying
I know what you're saying.
What I mean.
I'm just trying to stall time to get to the box score.
We're not saying it was 22 to
can,
nothing. It might have been like 22-10. Can you scroll?
22-9.
22-9.
So in the third quarter with 13:31, so right after halftime.
And then they're kicking field goals.
They're up 22-9. Well, Houston didn't score. They didn't do anything in the second half.
Okay, so it took Belichick to make adjustments at halftime to be able to figure out what to do with Davis Mills. Like, that's my problem with that whole game. Like, they played the Jets a few weeks ago. They shut him out. They had the rookie throwing interceptions. He threw 4 interceptions. Like, this guy actually moved the ball down the field and scored a couple touchdowns. So, all
right. So look, this is where I'm at. This was not a pick for me.
And we did have last week. They had 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen not there. I did not look into that to see if they're back. So that would be a concern, right?
Like, you rarely do this to me, and it's not like I was going to make New England a pick, and now you're swaying me. But I would have told you I'd lean towards New England over Dallas, thinking that Bill Belichick would be able to, win this game at 425 at home and blah, 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 and have at least enough defense to be able to keep Dak and the Cowboys offense, in the 20s, in the teens maybe. But you're kind of swaying me to Dallas, because when I think of Dallas, and I got to try to put my hatred towards the franchise out of my head because I'm trying to be arbitrary, clearly, Dallas is a good team. They've shown that they can beat good teams. That's how you measure how far you think a team's going to go, how many wins they're going to get. They've beaten San Diego and San Diego. And when you, like you said, New England, what is there to be happy about with New England? They're starting to get some tight end play. Damian Harris really hasn't done much.
He got hurt. And
Mac Jones is a rookie quarterback trying to figure it out, who flashes sometimes and looks like he could be the guy.
They're not really using Jonnu Smith much at all.
No, Jonnu Smith is kind of going to the back. They were splitting receptions or targets, him and Hunter Henry.
Yeah, so he's really emerged as the...
But Henry over the last 2 weeks has gotten, I think, double the targets. And Jonnu, maybe last week, only had 1. Mm-hmm. It was either last week or the week before, only had 1 target. So, yeah, I thought big things for Jonnu Smith, to the point where if you have Jonnu Smith in fantasy, you got to drop him and get Henry. Henry's out there on the waiver wire in a lot of leagues, but he's starting to get claimed because of the week he had last week. Anyway, that's fantasy football throwing.
All right. So, are you making a pick?
No.
Okay. All right, next game up is Seattle at Pittsburgh. It opened at -2.5 in favor of Seattle. It's up to -5 in favor of Pittsburgh, obviously being a reaction to the fact that Russell Wilson is now on injured reserve and will miss at least the next 3 games. So I mean, obviously Pittsburgh hasn't looked great this year, but the Seattle defense is not very good. We have Geno Smith at the helm for Seattle. He had one good drive at the end of the last game, but I don't know how much credence you can put into that. How long has it been since Geno Smith was like a starting quarterback in the NFL?
I want to say 2014.
So, and I guess I can just see, like, Pete Carroll is one of those coaches, he kind of gets stuck in his way of doing things. So I think he's going to take the approach, go into Pittsburgh, try to run the ball. Well, Pittsburgh has a good run D, so they're not going to be able to do that. If Pittsburgh is able to score points, which they probably will because Seattle doesn't have a great defense, then you're going to put yourself in a hole. And then the only option is for Geno Smith to play catch up. And I don't think that that's a good game plan to go into Pittsburgh with. So much as Pittsburgh has not looked good on the year, I am going to take Pittsburgh at -5.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you to put your money on Geno Smith, but we watched him a little bit last week when he got put in, and it didn't look bad.
It was one drive.
I know, but I was expecting him to fall on his face, but
and who
he's
did
still in the
Seattle
league.
play
He's been
last
there
week?
for a while.
I can't even remember.
Who did Seattle play?
Yeah. God, I can't remember.
Was it Tennessee?
No, that was a couple weeks ago. Why do I not see them? I can't find them on this stupid paper.
The Rams.
The Rams, okay.
They lost 26-17.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Rams, I think people think of their defense from the last couple of years, and it hasn't really played as well this year. So other than Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, their defense isn't as good. I think Pittsburgh definitely has a better defense. You're going to be on the road in Pittsburgh. That's my take on the game, and that's my pick.
I'm not confident on Pittsburgh with anything, especially
Neither
laying
am I,
5 points. So I'm out on this game. If
I'm confident that Pete Carroll's not going to have a masterful game plan to win this game without Russell Wilson. Apparently, Russell Wilson has not missed a start since like 2012.
Listen, I'm picking every game on the card here. I'm giving you at least picks or lean this way. Not everything's a pick. You know, like I would lean towards Dallas just to be official now. You talked me into Dallas on New England. I'm not going to say it. I'm not leaning or telling you to go anywhere on this game because I can't lay 5 points with Pittsburgh. And I'm not putting my money on Geno Smith. So I'm not telling you to do anything on this one.
Okay. All right. So last game is Monday Night Football. Buffalo at Tennessee. Opened at -3.5 in favor of Buffalo. It's now at -5.5. So, I mean, I love Tennessee. My first take on this game is they're going to get beat down. But the more I think about it, well, not so much the more I think about it. I think that Tennessee is going to have both A.J. Brown and Julio Jones back this week. So that will
Julio is back.
That will make a huge...
They're at full strength.
A huge difference. But Tennessee's defense is bad. Buffalo's defense has looked great. Tennessee should have a great offense, but obviously the last couple games they haven't had their two top guys. But even in the games that they did, or last week with just one of them, they just haven't looked great. I mean, they've been riding Derrick Henry, which they have a tendency to do. Buffalo has a great run defense, so I don't know how much he's going to be able to do by himself. However, number one, these two teams played last year, and it was a COVID game that it was Tennessee, I think, that had the COVID. The game had gotten moved to a Tuesday night.
Oh, I remember that.
I don't remember this. When I looked up this...
This was one of the first ones, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I remember that, but I don't remember the
actual... Like we're having Tuesday football? What the hell is this?
I don't remember...
It's great.
Do you know who won that game?
No, I think it was... didn't Tennessee, like with this COVID problem, like lose a lot of games?
So Tennessee won this game 42-16.
Okay.
And I have no recollection of that.
Oh, Derrick Henry. Like 3 touchdowns, right?
Well, he only had like 57 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns. So I don't really remember that. But the bottom line is apparently this is the game where 97% of the money is on the Buffalo Bills. So I'm taking the Titans.
I'm taking the Titans too. Listen to this is why. So last night, just follow me here. The Bills are a better team. The Bills are the best team in the AFC. I'm telling you, there was no joke last Sunday night against the Chiefs, but they had this game circled on their calendar because of what happened last year. You know, Buffalo was trying to get into the Super Bowl. They couldn't get there. They're looking at the Chiefs as the team that they got to go knock off. So game was circled and they blew them out. We called that game. At least I called that game. That was a huge win. Okay. Now they're going on the road Monday night, primetime football again in Tennessee. After this game, let's look at what Buffalo has lined up. The Dolphins, the Jaguars, the Jets, right? Easy 3-0 they're blowing out there. Colts, Saints, Patriots. December 6th is the Patriots game. So they're going all the way into one game into December. They play one team with a winning record. That's the Saints, and they stink with Jameis Winston. Don't tell me Jameis is going to win that game. So they're going to win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least the next 6 games. This is the spot in the schedule where Tennessee wins. This is a spot in the schedule play. Tennessee is not as good as Buffalo, but Tennessee defense is not as good as Buffalo. But when you have Julio and you have A.J. Brown and you got Derrick Henry, this is where we're going to see Tennessee. The key here, right, is Tannehill. Tannehill can't choke it out. He's got to be able to hit the guys in stride. I'm really looking forward to seeing Julio go off. He really hasn't, had that game, yet. So I think this might be it. Hopefully he's healthy. It sounded like they were extra cautious with Julio. Julio wanted to make sure when he came back, he was coming back and ready to play. So he's not nickel and diamond like 80%. It sounds like he's ready to go. I love Tennessee here.
Okay. Well, I'm with you. And apparently this game, when they played Buffalo last year and it got moved, their next game on the schedule was Kansas City. So they were upset about that game getting pushed out to Tuesday. So, to an extent, do you think they have this game circled too?
To an extent, but not
so much.
No, they're not as worried about them.
Okay. All right. Well, we're together on that one. So, Steve, your best bets.
My best
Packing
bets.
up a little too soon, dear.
I like Baltimore. I like, let me get on the list because I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. I like Baltimore, Minnesota, Indianapolis, Tennessee. Love Tennessee. Who else didn't I mention here? I would take Cleveland. We talked about the Rams. Talked about Detroit. This is Detroit win. I really like Baltimore. I like Baltimore and Tennessee are my probably 2 favorite. I do like Minnesota. I talked about them. I probably like them just as much. And
well, you know what, dear? The Eagles don't play this week, right? So I wonder which games.
Already.
Sunday at 1, so I'm not limited to watching one shitty game in the 1 o'clock.
I know the answer to this question.
So do we get LA, Baltimore?
The 1 o'clock game is...
We should get 2, right?
It's Chargers, Baltimore.
I thought you knew
Chargers,
the answer
Baltimore.
to this.
I was drawn because they were further down. I'm like, it's not them. It's Chargers, Baltimore.
Okay, cool. So we can watch
CBS.
this game unfold. Oh, maybe it'll be Tony Romo too.
Oh God, I
That'd
hope
be
not.
awesome. All right, so my best bets are going to be Indy, Green Bay.
Don't you think that guy's starting to get on your nerves though, Tony Romo?
I love Tony Romo.
He talks too much. See, he's overkill. Now he's trying to be like the Swami, predicting everything.
That's what I love about him.
Yeah.
All right. I like Kansas City, but I don't know if I want to take it at the spread. I would money line or tease it. I love the Chargers. Cardinals were on my list until the news about Cliff Kingsbury, Pittsburgh, Tennessee. And I would put Kansas City, Chargers, Tennessee, and maybe Pittsburgh into a teaser.
Pittsburgh's a play for you, huh?
Yes.
Ugh.
All right. That'll do it for us, week 6. Peace out. Oh, you know what? And I totally forgot. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. We're available anywhere you get your podcasts. You can't let me forget to plug the podcast, Steve.
Like us.
Come on now.
Comment. Ask us questions.
Well, Steve got some feedback last week, and he made sure to point it out that he was mentioning every game this week. All right. Peace out.